Welcome back to a best of 2 series of top level StarCraft 2. What I've got for you today is a Terran versus Zerg between two absolute channel favorites. Once more, it's the man right over here in the top left hand corner, joined by the little polar bear on the main command center. We have the brand new world champion of StarCraft. Of course, he goes by the name of Clem, and his opponent and rival. Both are from the beautiful country of Europe, so I guess it's his fellow countrymen. Playing, of course, here with the blue Zerg pieces, we have none other than Reynor. These two have been playing absolute bangers against each other as of late, and from what I understand, this particular series is no different. What's kind of fun is that Clem hasn't really lost to anybody, right? Like, at the EWC, at the Esports World Cup, he dropped 2 maps the entire tournament long, and both of them were against Reynor. He went 4-0 in the semifinals, 5-0 in the grand finals. He hasn't really lost against anybody, but against Reynor, he seems to somehow draw a bit of a blank. The most recent series that I watched these two play, Reynor decided to play the weirdest strategies. He decided to open up, for example, 2-base mass muta. A lot of queen drops and a lot of weird aggression in general. He made about, in that first game of that particular series we watched, he made about 100 Mutalisks, which is very strange. 2-base muta against Terran in 2024? That's what we used to do in the early days. Back when these two were, you know, they just learned how to walk, right? Like, I don't know when they were born. I think they probably were about 8 or so when pro gamers were... I guess you can walk by the time. Most kids can walk by the time they're 8. But what I'm saying is, back when mutaling Bane was a popular strategy, these two were still just in elementary school, right? So, I'm very curious to see what Reynor is going to do in this particular series, but lately it seems that he does have Clem's number. And as far as any other opponent goes, Clem makes them look like a bit of a fool. Clem makes everybody look like a bit of a fool, but somehow he's struggling against Reynor. Okay, so what do we do? It's going to be an Overlord Scout here for Reynor. Fair enough. Factory on the back of this. I think what's going on in a lot of these games, it's not even necessarily mind games. It's that Reynor has figured out the vulnerabilities in Clem's opener. So Clem is doing a variation of the same theme in basically every single game. And it seems like the general outline of the top level Terrans is all quite comparable. So they start off with the triple command center, usually Heli and Benchy. And then when they get to like that mid to late game transition, right? So a little bit later on into the game, they start up the mass command center, the mass ghost, and the mass liberator style. And it's proven to be good against practically everything, right? It's been proven that it's good against basically everything Zerg does. But it seems like Reynor has come up with a few strategies that are just slipping through the cracks, where he's catching the Terran as they're not really scouting anymore. So a lot of these early game decisions that Terran make, then also that late game transition with the mass command center style and all that, there's a severe lack of scouting because, well, time has taught the Terrans that they don't really need to scout. Everything Zerg does is defendable. Well, it turns out there are still builds that are very uncommonly played, but there are still builds that Zerg can execute that can catch the Terran player off guard. So I'm kind of excited. We've seen Serral, for example, against Maru play mass Zergling. Like, it was effectively against Maru. I uploaded that one recently. He went like basically a 10-minute timing attack where he was rushing out 3/3 upgrades and Adrenal Glands, and he just played Zergling Baneling. No Hydras, no Roaches, no Ultras, no Lurkers, no nothing. Just Ling Bane Queen. That was the entire game. And that is something that we don't normally see from Zerg players, but they're, back to the drawing board, and it seems like currently, strategically, the Zerg players are one step ahead of the top-level Terrans. Now, obviously, Clem knows all of this. He may very well disagree with me, but it does sort of seem that, Reynor has had his number as of late, and he's doing it by going for strategies that are, quote-unquote, mediocre. Now, so far, all of this is very normal. I'm expecting a Baneling Nest here momentarily. Baneling Nest into double evolution chamber, that's the norm. So no shenanigans here as far as the early game strategies go for the Zerg player just yet. And in the meantime, on the other side of the map, triple CC, Heli and Benchy. We've got ourselves some additional barracks coming up. We have all seen this about a gajillion times before. Unless you haven't, maybe this is the very first time you're watching StarCraft 2. In which case, boy, do I have some games for you. No, seriously though. I think the majority of people that watch StarCraft 2 in 2024 have probably been watching for quite a long time. But if not, welcome. I love this game. I'll keep casting it for as long as I can. Any RTS game that I've tried is just not as good, man. I'm sorry. I'm sorry to all the other RTS fans out there, but... Oh, Spire. We're going Spire again. This is a variation of the Muta opener. Rather than doing 2-base Muta, we're just doing a macro Muta build. Okay then. Did he? He skipped the Bailing Nest. So this is what I'm talking about, right? So look at how exceptionally greedy this is from Reynor. Reynor is not scouting. He doesn't know what Terran's going for. All he's seen is Heli and Banshee. So he is making assumptions as to what the Terran's follow-up is going to be. He doesn't have a Roach Warren, he doesn't have a Bailing Nest. How would you stop, say for example, a Hellbat all-in? How would you stop even like a Marine timing attack? All of those builds are very difficult to defend, but the Terrans aren't going for them anymore. They're playing the same tried and true strategy, and I mean, Zerg players are cutting 17 corners right now. No Bailing Nest, no Roach War. He doesn't have anything to deal with those early game shenanigans at all. But he's gonna get away with it. He's gonna get away with it for sure. Okay, well, the Mutas are coming. Now, finally, a Bailing Nest is coming too, but I think Reynor will probably go double upgrades before the Bailing Nest upgrade. This is all extremely late. Now, he needs to have those units out though, because here comes Clem with the standard timing. +1/+1 coming up. Combat Shields is a little bit late, but Clem is hoping that he can deny the 4th. That's the goal for this attack. If Reynor defends this without losing too many Mutas, he's gonna be fine. Look at this Siege Tank positioning. Reynor can just kill that with Mutalisks. He doesn't expect it though. Clem is not prepared here for Mutas at all. He's got only Zerglings. There's indeed the Bailing speed started up. So this is even +1 flyer attacks before Bailing speed. It's kind of ridiculous. The Mutas, by the way, have gone straight across the map. So rather than defending at home, Reynor is just trying to deal counterattack damage. That is going to come at the cost of the 4th base now, but he's already remaking one over in the top right-hand corner. Here go the Mutas, though. And the mass Zergling counterattack. Okay. So we're just leaving this entire army parked close to the edge of the creep. 8 SCVs go down at the exchange of a hatchery. I think that's fine for Zerg. Not amazing. Mutas are kind of stuck right now. Never mind. Somehow they have found the edge of the map. Yeah, you can't go any further than that. It looks like there's some space. Clem letting these units escape? Really? That surprises me. I didn't think he was gonna have to do that. But good guy Clem decides to give his opponent a run for his money. Okay. This is all fine though for Clem. Don't get me wrong. I'm talking about this entire strategy. I think Clem could have done a lot to win this game already. Several different timing attacks would have just straight up won him the match. But he's still fine economically. He's fine eco-wise. He's fine upgrade. He's fine in every aspect of the game. But now the mass Muta numbers are gonna go up. +1 air weapons is going to finish up for Zerg. +1 flyers. He's just picking up a few reinforcing units. Okay. Can Clem get a chokehold on this base as well? I don't think so. He's parked at the edge of the creep though. It makes me wonder if he can get something done. Yeah, the reinforcing units are being picked up. I love that here from Reynor. Look at the APM count already, jeez. Here go the Mutas again. Yeah, in order to play Mutas, you need about 600 APM. That's what we've learned watching these Reynor games as of late. Mutas are a viable option. You just need to play quicker. Yeah, say you have something pathetic, like, say only 400 APM. Lol. Yeah, no, if you're capable of only 400 APM, which is about 0.1% of the player base, I think. Yeah, mutas are still not a great option, but Reynor showing us that it's perfectly viable if you play a little bit quicker than that. Oh, that split. Oh. Now there is another one of mine hiding over there. I actually watched the end of the VOD of the games that were being played live when they first went up against each other during the WTL playoffs. So Reynor played a very similar strategy as this on post-youth. I did cast that game as well. He went mass muta. And Clem actually performed a very uncharacteristic Clem move. He actually keyboard smashed. Like, he was so upset that he actually hit his keyboard. I've never seen him do that before. He doesn't ever strike me as a very emotional player, but he was properly frustrated. And this is now looking like a... I guess he just earned $500,000 or so, right? So he can afford a new keyboard. It's not a problem, but still. Oh, well this... that is a little bit shaky right there for Reynor. It's because he's busy over here trying to not die against this siege tank marine push. And this attack right here from Clem is actually looking really lovely now. Yeah, I mean, the mutas are still being so obnoxious. 27 SCVs go down. I mean, as the dust settles, right? If Reynor does not lose this base... I think this is still a very playable game for him. Mostly because we're talking 78 Zerg drones versus 49 Terran SCVs. Yep, and this will be a cleanup ultimately. The fight over here continues. The dance of the mutas. He's gonna try and escape through the center. Nah. Oh! He's juking everywhere trying to get out, but I think pretty much all the mutas have gone down. 18, 19 mutas. That's quite a few losses. What's fun though about this game is that both players are clearly struggling. Right? Like, there's no player here that's just cruising and comfortable. Everybody is, well, trying to take out several fires at the same time. And ultimately, I think it's hard for me to say. I think I prefer this position slightly here for Zerg. But it's still mutas. I don't know, man. Okay, this benchy counterattack is lovely. Clem may be able to distract a lot of those mutas. If they go back home, that would be amazing. Are there enough mutas to kill? Yep, for sure. SCVs didn't even bother repairing it. This expansion has escaped by the skin of its teeth like 7 times already. He is just continuing the muta production right now. So one thing that apparently happened from those mutas is that the armory got killed. So the armory got shut down, meaning that 3-3 could not actually start up at a perfect moment. It is important here for Clem not to forget about those upgrades. Scanning the main base reveals that this is still lair tech. 86 drones, 5 base Zerg, lair tech. I'm smiling because every single Zerg built over the last half year has been a hive rush, right? All of them have been, well, lurker rushes essentially, or at the very least a bunch of Ling Bane upgrades at hive tech. We will get there eventually, but the norm lately has been to go for a hive pre like 7 minutes. Okay. There's 3-3 coming up. Clem just wants to be able to breathe, man. Let the man breathe for a little bit, Reynor. Jeez. Well, that's exactly what he is, of course, trying to avoid. So, in theory, right? In my mind, when Terran is maxed out and they have 3-3 upgrades, their army destroys the Zerg. Clem also only remade a small amount of SCVs. He's just got enough for 3-base saturation, meaning that his army count is gonna get massive. So ultimately, in the next few minutes, this should be a really, really good here for Clem. Like, yes, Reynor had his finger on the pulse there, and it was looking like he was gonna be able to cut the head off the snake, right? But he didn't. So now Now we're back in this position where Clem gets to decide the pacing of the game, and he's doing a great job carving a path onto all of the creep. Lovely splits here, dancing on the edge. That's what we want to see. It goes real well until Reynor once more strikes at home. Yep, Clem immediately returns back with his entire army. I think that's a bit of an overreaction. Problem is, of course, that it's scary to micro against those units and then also be stepping onto the creep on the other side. So he actually decides to go back with some of those troops, but you can tell that there's indecisiveness, which is usually not something at all that Clem struggles from. Like, he usually, or struggles with rather, he usually does not second guess himself. Failing. Can we at least explode it onto one Marine? Oh, no, we want more. Jeez Louise. Sorry, I just want to go back here. The way that Reynor was walking those Marines, okay? You may not have been able to see the lead, but he was guiding the Marines around the pillar onto that one burrowed Baneling with the mutas. Look, he's engaging this on purpose. He goes away, and the perfect detonation. Lovely little play there. Lovely little play. So, the way that Reynor is playing is very, very confident. And Clem is constantly second-guessing himself. So he went back home with his army, then he went back onto the creep. Then he stimped once, and he did kill an expansion, but then he went back home. And he's marching around. We're lacking a little bit of confidence here. Now, this is not really the type of game, though, where Terran is making a transition towards ghosts. Ghosts are still... I mean, yeah, they don't exist, I guess. And if you don't have anything to counter Ultras, Ultras can drive home an advantage really quickly. Marauders are, of course, decent. Thors are decent. Widowmines are pretty good. It's not that Marines suck terribly. But if you're caught off guard by a bunch of Ultras, oh, the Medivacs! The Medivacs are actually even more important here. Big attack here once again. If you're caught off guard against Ultras, it can be a horrible time for Terran. Okay, another 8 SCVs go down. As the game goes longer, though, Terran is going to be more and more spread out. And that, of course, is a nice thing here for the Mutalist player. Should I go to first-person view for a little bit? So this is Clem's first-person view. This is him putting out fires, trying to not die. I know this can be a little bit nauseating sometimes, but he's macroing and he's trying to build additional stuff and clean up that Zergling run-by over at the third base using his reinforcements. His house is on fire, but he called in the marshals. They're on their way, man. I think this is actually this is manageable. Let's go to Reynor's point of view for a sec. Sends in a couple of Zerglings. Trying to burrow some. Trying to catch some of these opponents. Ooh, he saw that Widowmine real quick. Jeez. I want to just emphasize that not seeing that Widowmine can be a disaster. I can tell from experience. If you're playing Mutaling Bane and you don't see the Widowmines, oh, the burrowed Banelings! Hey, there it is. Okay, I'm gonna take control of the camera again. That was a lot. Ooh, jeez. Okay. Well, that's one thing you can do if you have a lot of money. 35 Banelings coming right up. Anybody order some Banelings? Well, I hope you're not a planetary. Roll, roll, roll your Banes gently down their base. Merrily kill of the Marines. Ba-ba-da-ba-ba. Hey! No? Okay. Oh, yeah, no, we're gonna kill them. Okay. Yep, just kill them all. Get it all out of here. 35 Banelings, though, is also quite costly, but I think that's a trade that Reynor will happily make, because now he's got the Ultras. Look at the big chonkers. This will be the first time that Clem sees the Ultras, and that's gonna be quite annoying, because he doesn't really have a good unit to counter Ultras. How many times are we 19 minutes into a Terran versus Zerg, where Terran doesn't have Ghosts, or Liberators, or both? Ultras are going to be fully upgraded too. A Liberator is awkwardly starting up right now. Oh, can he get the kick? Yeah, he can get the base for sure. Nicely done right here by Clem, who's not scared away by the Ultra. As a matter of fact, it seems like he is reinvigorated here. Once more feeling pretty good about the situation. Killed 2 bases over here at the bottom of the map. Resecuring this expansion would be nice. Rather than going for a planetary, he's gonna plant an orbital down instead. There's only 5 orbitals. Ooh, that's not a whole lot anymore. He's lost a lot of his economy throughout this game. Yeah, 92 SCVs. Ooh, that's a lot. Okay. I think for practice sake, this has got to be one of those strategies too that's quite difficult for Clem to practice against. Because I would imagine there's about 2 Zerg players that can actually execute this style. And I can also imagine that those Zerg players don't necessarily want to practice with him all too much. Let me put it like this. I think if any other Zerg player at a high level is inspired by these games from Reynor, is like, ooh, this is what I'm going to go out and do, I think Clem will utterly destroy them. Widowmine drop coming up. Oh, lovely drop. That's actually such a big play. I really like the Widowmine drops in the late game. 12 drones is not a ton, but it's gonna slow down the Zerg a little bit, right? Minerals is something that Zerg can easily replenish at this point. Ooh, a couple of nice Baneling hits. Okay. We got a lot of minerals, but not a lot of gas. It still slows down the Zerg. Couple of mutas going around the side. Marauders will be able to kill the Ultras here too. There's another stream of Lings going straight across the map. But at this point, Reynor has to be a little bit cautious. I don't think Zerglings alone are going to be enough. He's not really fighting the army, though. He's mostly just trying to deal damage wherever he can. But he's certainly going to need at least Banelings in the mix in order to counter this. And at this point, he's lost... Look at the amount of gas. Sorry, 11,000 gas lost for Zerg. Only about, what, 4,000 lost for the Terran. The numbers, though, are heavily in favor of Reynor, who's actually running out of larva, so he would be close to maxing out again if he had all of his larva. That is something to take into consideration here, too. No liftoff, Clem. 500 APM, not enough. Loses another one of those very precious orbitals. He's gonna be forced to run again. Okay. Okay. You know what? This is actually starting to become extremely scrappy. Sure, Reynor has been winning every fight, but a lot of that is due to the fact that he had more income. He does still have more income than the opponent, but the trades have been horribly inefficient. That is actually probably the biggest gas discrepancy I've seen all year. That is a massive difference. Yeah, the Marines against the Mutas, I guess, right? 50 minerals for a Marine versus 100. And this little this little attack over here by Clem is actually such a big one. He's doing something similar at the bottom of the map, but the Zerg bio army, the ground army that is present. But killing the expansion here is gonna really slow down the Zerg quite a bit. Okay. Now, where do we go from here? My main concern here for Clem is that he just doesn't have the income to sustain this. He's mining mostly using his mules? Yeah, he just doesn't. GG gets cold. Incredibly cost-inefficient army or not, it's ultimately Reynor who obtains the victory. Now, luckily for us, it's a best-of-2 series. So Reynor may have won the first game. Now we find ourselves on Crimson Court. I believe that generally they have losers pick during the WTL, although they did change some of the rules over the years. But that would mean that Clem has decided that he wants to play on Crimson Court. Okay. Now, lately, whenever I see Clem playing on this map, he decides to play double barracks on the low ground. One of the main issues that you run into as Terran versus Zerg on this map is the Ravager and the Queen all-ins. So there's the rich Vespian geyser over here that leads into a lot of Zerg all-ins, and in order to stop that, you do kind of need to put on a little bit of pressure. A couple ways in which you can do so. First off, you can go for the Reaper opener, the triple Reaper opener, or even like 4, maybe 5 if you're feeling really ambitious. It's really nice at delaying the third base of the Zerg. So you don't mind it if Zerg takes a third over here, but it's a problem if the Zerg takes that location over here. So if you can delay that for long enough, you can effectively shut down any of that early game aggression. Secondly, this also leads to watch Stimpack at a reasonable time. Usually Stimpack will be done by the time that, like, for example, a Queen drop with Lair Tech would hit. And Stimpack is a pivotal upgrade for base defense. So it makes sense to go for this opener right here as the Terran player, rather than the good old 1-1-1. So what is Reynor going to do? Because of course he knows that the opponent has certainly thought about these builds, right? I don't think he's going to default to a Ravager all-in or a Queen drop or anything like that. Although it's certainly a possibility. He's going to scout right now. And he will see. Okay, it's a double Rex. There's always this moment where it could technically also be a third barrack somewhere. Will there be a oh, okay, I was going to say, will there be a third one? There will be. And we should see a command center on the low ground here momentarily. There it is. Reynor already mining out the mineral fields on the left side of the Golden Wall here to go for the third base over in this area instead. And he wants to get this going. Okay, before the Reapers can deny it. I like that play there from Reynor, because sometimes these Reapers can be incredibly pesky. They can be super annoying and you can never take a third. But Reynor has already taken a third base, and this is not a location that Terran's going to be able to scout until he commits a unit himself in that direction. So now he's seen exactly what's going on. I think he probably realizes that he at the very least wants to have a peek at these mineral fields over there. Double command center on the back of this though, so it's going to be a big economy. And while we are at 3 Reapers, it's only that. So 3 Reapers into Stimpack, into triple CC. Honestly though, it seems like Reynor has found an answer to the mid game, right? Like that seems to be where most of the Zerg players are struggling right now. But it seems to me that he has found a really good answer against Clem's mid game. Is he gonna go mass muta again? That's the question. So far, he's entirely gasless. So no Stimpack, or no Stimpack either, for what it's worth, but no metabolic boost. Hey, Brenda, stop that. Okay, good. No metabolic boost here. We're gonna take 2 gases at the same time. I was wondering about that. Will he take 4 of them at the same time? Not quite. But this could certainly be like Lair with the first 100 gas, if he really wanted to be greedy. Now, when will Clem move across the map again? Whoa, that accidentally rhymed. When will Clem move across the map again? Accidental rep god. I guess if you say enough words during, you know, StarCraft cast at some point, you will be an accidental rep god. But Eminem better watch out. This is only the beginning. I wouldn't mind him moving across right about right now though, because like there's nothing stopping him, right? So now metabolic boost is coming, but this is gonna take minutes before it's done. Or at least that's what it feels like. There's nothing stopping these Marines. Now Clem is making the assumption here that Stimpack is gonna be denied. He will get a little bit of vision now, and I like this scout. He now sees that his opponent must be quite late. And I would love to see him do a move out when these, at the very least, the Medevacs move out. Like, I kind of feel like he should go right now, to be honest. Yeah, but we're all doing, like, we're doing the autopilot. And I feel like that's what's kind of dangerous here. A little bit too rigid. We're transfusing creep tumors. Okay, then. I think you only ever transfuse creep tumors when you're feeling real good. There come the medevacs. There are enough Zerglings out by now. You need about 30 lings against this amount of Marines. With this amount of Queens, it's gonna be okay. I mean, it's slow links. Yeah, finally it finishes. No micro on the medevac. That was actually quite a sloppy mistake there from Clem, but he does manage to keep most of the units around. Trying to kill the Queens here too. Gets another. That fight looked like it was just about to become amazing for Clem, but him losing one of the medevacs there early does certainly hinder his plans. I think he could have done a little bit more. One Queen in total is not really what you're going for. Looks like the Reaper went down on the right side of the map in the meantime. Okay, so it's once again quick 1-1 upgrades. Lair coming up. Are we gonna go Mutas? Are we gonna go Spire again? Clem is scouting for this sort of thing. He wants to see how much gas is gonna be spent and how much is gonna be mining for the Zerg. If you see that one of the gases in the main base is not mining, it's a very good indicator that it's not going to be Mutas, at the very least not yet. Second factory coming up at the front. Ooh, okay. Infestation pit. Pretty quick infestation pit, all things considered. This may just be straight 2-2 into straight 3-3. So if he goes up to a hive here, he can get adrenal glands together with 3-3 research really quickly. Anyways, Clem moving in right now. He's just about to finish up his own infantry upgrades. There they are on the right side of your screen. A lot of trading though, right before those upgrades are done. Not entirely suboptimal because Clem's goal here is mostly just to stay alive and just to deal wherever, deal damage wherever you can. So he's gonna go into the 4th command center here. Another medevac drop will be moving across. +2 starting up. All is good right there for the Terran. Whatever value he can get. Nice target firing right there onto these Banes. Look at the creep spread though around the map. This is what happens when you do open up with the double barracks. You don't have those Hellions roaming the map. The creep spread, when Zerg is on point, is ridiculous. Decides to unload the medevac a couple steps over. Goes after these drones, but this is already... I like this game a lot better here from Clem though, because he gets to kind of do his own thing, right? Like he gets to decide his own pace a little bit. And he's starting to take care of now a lot of that creep. Expansion in the middle is also going to be in favor of the Terran player. There's drilling claws about halfway done. Barracks 6, 7, and 8 are finishing. I would not be surprised to see a Ghost Academy here in just a moment. Oh, he's trying to go after this base. Oh! The base is going to die eventually, but for now it'll stay alive. We have a drop inside of the main base too, just trying to be a nuisance. And is now also accidentally scouts the timings here of the Zerg. So look at what's happening here. This is Reynor rushing out adrenal glands. Opened up gasless, went straight triple hatch. And then apparently it's effectively an adrenal glands rush. This is what Cyril did against Maru, and it worked incredibly well. Maru was playing more passively than Clem is doing right now. But this is still something that can catch the Terran off guard. So adrenal glands is about a 40% attack speed buff for Zerglings. And it makes the links hit really, really hard. Overlord drops. We're gonna take Overlord drops over here in this base right now. That base is already almost dead. Liberators. They're coming. No Ghost Academy. I guess that's basically what all these threats are for, right? Now that I'm thinking about it. Oh no, there's the Ghost Academy. Anyways, ultimately, all these strategies we've been seeing from Reynor and Cyril as of late, it's all there to just not have to play against ghosts. Please, not the ghost. Anything but the ghost, Terrans. Please. Couple of cheeky banelings hiding in the grass. Oh, somehow Brenda lives. The queen almost died, but she got a couple transfuses. Borrowed Banes still somehow avoided. Nematized Carapace. Oh, what? No! I pressed the back button on accident. Well, that's a little bit annoying. Anyways, we get to witness some of that again, apparently. The V button is right next to the B button. V for vision. B for back. Let's see. So he did finish up the Nematized Carapace upgrade. That does make life a little bit better. Ooh, getting the spawning pool killed right now would actually be really nice. Because this is just as Adrenal Glands finishes. So all of the upgrades that Reynor has been building up are finally done now. He can finally go for a proper link flood all around the map. Except that now he can't. Well, that's a little bit awkward. We've been building up to this this set of upgrades the entire game long, and now the spawning pool dies. Okay. Fight over at the front is gonna go nicely here for Clem. But here's the Zergling counterattack, the very first one of this match. We've seen a couple, I guess, go around the map, but this is the first real committed one, and it's dealing a tremendous amount of damage. Dude, whenever Adrenal Glands kicks in, it seems like Zerglings are just suddenly twice as powerful. Any of those engagements just goes so much better for the Zerg. This is also before the biological units here for Terran finish up their 3-3. Finally, they get the kill, though, on that expansion, so that's nice. Burrowed lings everywhere. I feel like the only thing missing here is a Nidus Worm, or double Nidus Worm, just to even send in stuff quicker. But here's again the Ultra. Now, one big thing to note, though, compared to the previous game, is that Clem now does have ghosts. Last game, he was suddenly caught against Ultras, and he didn't have any late game unit. Now he's got ghosts coming up. He already has 4 Liberators. It's not amazing, but it's gonna be a lot better than just being stuck on Marine Marauder. Another snipe on his hatchery in the middle of the map. Nicely done. Command center on the right side is relatively well protected, although, well, if these Zerglings have any say in the matter, they'll be running up on over in that direction momentarily. Clem is currently supply blocked. He's not making any supply depots either. At this stage in the game, generally, Terran players will only think about, well, command centers as giant supply depots, but this is a little bit sloppy. Gonna be able to finish those up. Okay, a lot of good Widowmine hits here, but you have to be careful, because Clem might also be accidentally losing his own units. Here's that Lingbane Ultra counterattack, though. This nicely tucked away expansion looked pretty good earlier. Ultras are also looking strong for the base defense. Yeah, at this rate, I feel like for Clem, this might just become a bit of a mental block for him. Baelix! Ah! Another nice detonation. Not the golden detonation that Reynor was hoping for, but still pretty darn good. You gotta be careful here as Terran that it doesn't accidentally become a mental block. So look at the total setup right now. Clem has been pushed back into his little starting quadrant. Like, he's not really got that much of the map covered anymore. Main base in the natural would be running very low. And in the meantime, Reynor is taking one of the bases here that would normally be the Terrans. He doesn't have a ton of income, though, and he doesn't have a lot of resources either. Okay. Drop over here at the bottom of the map. Queens decide to keep each other healthy. One of the medevacs goes down. I mean, this is an overly ambitious base right here from Reynor. I feel like he's almost going a little too far here. Yeah, no, I think he's getting a little over-eager. This is too much. This base is unnecessary. Fighting over here with basically just Ultras also a bit silly. Not going to be able to achieve anything there. Queen in the main base. Not an infestor, but she's burrowed underground. You can see her little eyes. Okay, that hatchery goes down. And Clem manages to get back up to a near maxed out supply. Reynor currently sitting at 162. It's not amazing. Especially not with the very swarmy style that he's going for. He mixed in 1 Corruptor just to make it impossible. 2 Corruptors. Just to make it impossible for those Medivacs to hide in the corners. Nicely done here, though, by Clem. This expansion is gonna get denied another time, but he lifts it off immediately. Okay. Not bad whatsoever. Liberator in the middle of the map, denying whatever it can. All Clem really needs at this point is a new base. If he can secure an expansion properly and not lose it very rapidly, he should be fine. I would love to see a sensor tower here, maybe even some static defense or a couple of structures just to funnel those, Zerg units a little bit more. At least knock down the rocks. I feel like these rocks are just being annoying to you. Okay. Just don't. Just make it hard to defend your bases. Your call. Fair enough. At least one of them can go. Okay, we're just gonna pretend that this section of the map is safe. Gotcha. Okay. Reynor now also once more maxed out, but he's playing Ultras against somebody. Oh, this choke point is so nice, though. Yeah. He's playing Ultras against somebody who's now mixing in a load of Ghosts. And this is exactly the situation that Reynor has been trying to avoid in all of these games. Okay, Ultras are dealing a lot of damage. Ghosts are mostly out of energy. I don't think, though, yeah, with these Liberators up in the air, that the Zerg player can really chase. Nicely positioned right there by Clem. Defending the attack path. Or in his case, the retreating path, I guess. Reynor once more wants to go for this base. I don't know. I feel like this base is overly ambitious. Or overly ambitious? No, ambitious? Okay, I gotta work on that pun. Anyways, we got the attacks still continuing all around the map. And Clem is looking a lot more stable at this point. You know, Terrans are feeling good when they research building armor. This is the comfort zone upgrade. And honestly, a bit of a no-brainer. Extra armor on all your buildings is exceptionally good. Marines and Marauders are starting to do well now too against these Ling run-bys because they're also fully upgraded. When those Lings first came in with Adrenal Glands, Terran was still stuck on 2-2. But now that he's gotten to 3-3, you can tell that life has gotten a bit more comfortable. And look at that, a body block. Very brave body block here. But ultimately this Ultra is also going to go down. A couple Corruptors are also getting sniped. But these traits are fine enough though for Clem, I think. I don't think he really minds. As he's now busy securing another expansion. The Overlord does see this. But is there anything Zerg can do about it? Well, this game is not over yet. It kind of looked to me like it was just about to be over. But we're now 18 minutes in. And the supply counts are pretty much even. Resource counts are quite comparable too. There's action all over the map though. I'm not gonna go for another cheeky little Widow Mine drop. Very high level games this, by the way. The creep spread is just relentless, dude. Ay, ay, ay. I've seen Clem get rid of so many... How many creep tumors have died this game? Can we see that over here somewhere? No. I wish I knew how many creep tumors he killed, because that would be... Ooh, that would be really strong. One thing Clem hasn't seen yet is a fungal growth. It's the worst when you have to go to the doctor to get your fungal growth. No, no. What I'm saying is that he hasn't experienced it yet because he hasn't seen any infestors. One infestor suddenly showing up and fungaling the entire bio bowl could be a disaster. And as we all know, Terrans are allergic to late game ravens. They prefer the fungal growth over the late game raven itch. Okay, the Lings and the Banes have once more opened up a front door opportunity here. Ultra setting up a surround in the bottom right hand corner. This is a very committed attack right now from Reynor, and I don't like it one bit. He decides to back off, but those Ultras are popping real fast. I mean, if there's no Stimpack, I guess they can catch up, but Clem does decide to activate it, and that was expensive for the Zerg. He does get some really nice Baneling hits once more. Burrowed Banelings, no Ravens, no scans. One day, I will be able to feel smug about Terrans mixing in late-game Ravens. One day, I will be able to be a smug commentator. But today is still not that day. How many burrowed Banelings do we have to see detonate on entire clumps of bio before it will be a consideration? I know that technically pre-splitting and more scans can solve most of those issues. In theory. But realistically, I think it's such a good unit to add in. I know it's kind of expensive. Anyways. Oh god. Well, that was about as much value as you could have hoped for right there as the Zerg player. Massive fungal growths, and that is taking the wind out of Clem's sails for just a little bit. It was looking like the momentum was going to shift in his favor. Reynor actually mining this base. I mean, he needs another base. He needs something. I guess this is the easiest one he can hope for. It's one of the reasons why Zergs don't really enjoy playing Crimson Court that much. Sometimes feels like you have to steal one of the bases of the opponent to even get even, but... He's pushing in deep, though. Oh, this is looking so good right now again for the Zerg player. Hold up. Is he going to be able to continue attacking? Reinforcing units, though, are coming in from the front lines. No, I think the newly spawned units as well out of the barracks are going to be enough. Clem does hold on. This little choke point here in his natural expansion has been worth its absolute weight in gold. Like, it's... Wait, it's absolute weight? Anyways, you get what I'm trying to say. Marines and Marauders going after the newly acquired base one more time. This is Reynor's lifeline at this point. And Reynor just doesn't... Oh, Widow Mines? Sometimes the Widow Mines can help out the Zerg player here. Good liftoff. I really like that liftoff here from Clem. He wants to minimize the damage that he takes. Still takes a lot, don't get me wrong. More Widow Mines getting some good detonations in up here. Okay. And suddenly, with that base going down, this entire game is looking incredible for the Terran. It's been messy, it's been quite sloppy across the board, but extremely entertaining. But I think as long as he stabilizes here and he doesn't let too many Zerg units flood in, he should be okay. Yeah, he should be totally fine. Terran still has a base over here in the bottom right that's relatively fresh. Yeah, I say that. He's gonna need to start looking for another base of his own soon. I would imagine it's gonna be this one over here. Reynor immediately retakes that hatchery in the top left corner. This is about the 7th attempt at this base. He's had it finish up a couple times, but I don't think it's really mined nearly as many resources. Clem is thinking, yo, if you want this base, I want it too. We can share. Turns out Zerg players are really bad at sharing, though. There's an actual minefield over here. Here's the Infestor again. Somebody cue the shark music. Oh no. It comes down to this. There's a fight happening in the middle of the map too, as Clem is taking care of another base. Here's the Foggle, but it never happened. Okay, and with this entire setup going horribly wrong for Reynor, it ultimately is Clem who wins the game.